Cherki, Rodri, Donnarumma, Haaland. Last season, Manchester City looked mortal. They bled, they stumbled, they fell. But make no mistake, what we witnessed was only the calm before the storm.
We have transfer talk to get to, but things are getting dicey over at PSG. It looks like Donnarumma might have played his last game for PSG.
The potential Manchester City departures, we'll just follow that up now as well, potential income.
Now Pep Guardiola has reforged them into a monster, an unstoppable machine. A squad so complete, so ruthless, it looks ready to crush everything and everyone in its path.
And ready to enjoy the good moments and bounce back as soon as possible the bad ones.
Just how dangerous is this squad, and are they destined to win the league this season?
Ball in towards Lewis, Lewis into the area, and Haaland scores!
Last season, Manchester City were almost unrecognizable. 4 years, they were the side that haunted the league, the team everyone feared to face. Flawless in possession, ruthless in attack, and nearly impossible to break down. But in 2025, that aura collapsed. Injuries ripped through the squad like a storm, and suddenly every match looked like a battle they could no longer control. The midfield, once the heartbeat of City's dominance, looked slower and predictable. The defense, usually Pep's well-drilled wall, lost its structure and sharpness. And for the first time in nearly a decade, you could feel the shift. Opponents walked onto the pitch believing, we can take something here. And more often than not, they did. The cracks showed everywhere. In Europe, City's Champions League campaign ended in humiliation, crashing out to Real Madrid in a qualifier. And the worst part? That Madrid side wasn't even close to its best. Domestically, things were no better. In the Premier League, Pep's men surrendered the title to Liverpool, their fiercest rivals, who thrived under the pressure while City buckled. And it wasn't just the title race. City were leaking points to Tottenham, Bournemouth, and Brighton. Matches that Guardiola sides are expected to dominate suddenly turned into stumbling blocks. But the lowest point came in the FA Cup final, their last real shot at silverware. Under the Wembley lights, they fell to Crystal Palace, a mid-table team that wrote their fairy tale while City's season was summed up in one word: ordinary. A once untouchable empire had been reduced to vulnerability. And Pep Guardiola, he doesn't forgive failure. He doesn't live with ordinary. The summer that followed was ruthless. Enough was enough. Pep tore into his squad with precision, stripping away weaknesses and rebuilding from the ground up to ensure there would be no repeat of last year's collapse. And surprisingly, the first place he went wasn't the midfield or defense, it was the goalkeeper. 4 years, Ederson had been the foundation of City's style. His calmness on the ball, his ability to ping 60-yard passes that split defenses, and his presence in one-on-one situations had been essential to their dominance. But last season, the warning signs were there. Pep even admitted that the only reason Ederson stayed was because no club matched City's asking price. This summer, Guardiola finally acted, bringing in James Trafford. Now Trafford is not just another modern goalkeeper. He's aggressive off his line, fearless in the air, and sharp when it's 1-against-1. Yes, his distribution is excellent, but what Pep seems to love most is his physical edge. Trafford has that old-school toughness blended with modern technique, something Ederson, for all his brilliance, never truly possessed. And yet, Pep doesn't seem finished. He's still chasing Gianluigi Donnarumma. If City pull that off, everything changes. Donnarumma isn't just a shot-stopper, he's a giant in goal. He brings Champions League experience, world-class reflexes, and ice-cold nerves in penalties. In knockout football, those moments decide everything. Imagine it, 2 elite keepers, Trafford and Donnarumma, battling for the #1 shirt. That's not depth, that's Guardiola sending a message to the league. If he's willing to rebuild his last line of defense this aggressively, just imagine the overhaul happening in front of them. Because next came the defenders. And this is where City's transformation looks even scarier. Last season exposed one brutal truth: City can't afford their backline to fall apart. Injuries left them vulnerable, and Pep wasn't about to let history repeat itself. So he built a fortress. Today, Manchester City boast one of the deepest defensive units in world football. At centre-back alone, Guardiola can rotate between Ruben Dias, Nathan Ake, John Stones, Manuel Akanji, and rising star Abdir Kozanov. That's 5 defenders who would walk into the starting 11 of most Premier League clubs. Depth, quality, and flexibility, City now have it all. Dias is the commander of City's backline, aggressive, vocal, and dominant in the air. He sets the tone, demanding intensity from everyone around him. Beside him, Nathan Ake is the perfect balance. Calm under pressure, strong in duels, and comfortable enough on the ball to glide through Pep's intricate build-up patterns. Together, they form what might be City's most reliable defensive partnership, Dias providing authority, Ake providing control. But Pep Guardiola's defensive arsenal doesn't stop there. John Stones remains his tactical wild card, a defender who can seamlessly step into midfield, altering the entire shape of the game within seconds. It's that fluidity which has turned Stones into one of Pep's most important weapons. Then there's Manuel Akanji, Pep's trusted insurance policy. Smart, versatile, and adaptable, Akanji can cover anywhere across the backline without any noticeable drop in quality, the kind of player every elite squad needs. And let's not forget Abdir Kazanov, the fearless youngster tipped to be City's breakout star. Strong, athletic, and unafraid of physical battles, he embodies the raw hunger that pushes even seasoned veterans to raise their level. Adding further depth is Callum Doyle, fresh from a strong championship loan. Doyle isn't flashy, but he brings aerial dominance, composure in possession, and a passing range tailor-made for City's rhythm. He may not start every week, but in Pep's rotation, he will be crucial. On the flanks, Guardiola's options stretch even further. On the right, Rico Lewis continues to stun observers with maturity far beyond his age. His positioning, decision-making, and technical ability are elite for a teenager. Still, in tougher fixtures, Pep may lean on Akanji at right back for added defensive solidity. On the left, Josko Gvardiol offers both aggression and assurance, able to defend on the front foot while also carrying the ball forward with confidence. But Pep being Pep, he wanted more unpredictability, and that's where Ryan Ait-Nouri comes in. Dynamic, direct, and daring, Ait-Nouri brings a totally different profile. He can dribble past opponents, whip in dangerous crosses, or cut inside to create chaos. Pep could use him inverted, like Cancelo, as part of a back three, or keep him wide to stretch play. While Gvardiol guarantees structure, Ait-Nouri injects unpredictability. Together, they give Pep a tactical flexibility on the left side that most managers can only dream about. With this revamped backline, Guardiola has already addressed the biggest weakness of last season. City's defense no longer looks fragile, it looks like a fortress. But if the defense is secure, the real transformation happens in midfield. Because last season, Manchester City's midfield didn't look like Manchester City's midfield. The tempo was gone. The control was missing. Opponents were finding gaps in areas that, under Pep, had always been shut tight. The collapse all stemmed from one man, Rodri. When he went down injured, the entire system fell apart. 4 years, Rodri has been the heartbeat of this team, dictating play, breaking up attacks, and keeping City balanced in every phase. Without him, they were exposed. Gundogan's form dipped, De Bruyne battled injuries, and only Bernardo Silva and Mateo Kovacic managed to sustain any Real consistency. For the first time, City's midfield felt slow, vulnerable, and predictable. Pep Guardiola knew this couldn't continue. And so, the midfield rebuild began. Rodri is back, restored as the anchor of the team, and with fresh reinforcements around him, City's midfield may once again become the most dominant unit in Europe. He's still recovering from a long-term injury and even picked up a knock in pre-season, so it may take time for him to return to his absolute best. But with Rodri, his qualities never fade. His positioning, vision, and calm control are permanent. And now, for the first time in years, Pep has proper insurance. Nico Gonzalez arrived from Porto for €60 million. He isn't Rodri yet, but he's disciplined, technically strong, and young enough to grow into the role, meaning City no longer collapse without their heartbeat. Pep also solved the midfield's biggest creative crisis. With Gundogan gone and De Bruyne battling injuries, the team had lost its late-run threat and its genius playmaker. So Pep replaced both in a single summer. Tijani Reinders comes in as the new Gundogan, a midfielder who can glide into the box, dictate the tempo, and score goals like a striker. 15 goals and 5 assists last season prove he's more than a midfielder, he's a weapon. And for the De Bruyne role, Pep landed Ryan Cherki, a magician with the ball, fearless in tight spaces, and capable of unlocking defenses with a single pass. Add Mateus Nunes' energy and box-to-box drive, and suddenly this isn't just a midfield rebuild, it's a midfield rebirth. With Rodri anchoring, Reinders surging, and Cherki pulling the strings, Pep's machine has balance again. But here's the scary part, that midfield might not even be the best thing about this squad. Because waiting ahead is an attack so dangerous it could redefine City all over again.